So as expected, Jai Opetaia dominated Brandon Glanton over 12 rounds where he was never really even in any trouble. I know going into this fight, a lot of people gave Brandon Glanton a good chance because he's a guy who's tough and he packs a shot. But you look at what Jai Opetaia has in terms of offensive weapons. At Cruiserweight, he's just got far too many offensive weapons for anyone at Cruiserweight other than David Benavidez to be able to handle him. Right? And none of these guys have enough firepower coming back to them again, other than David Benavidez coming back at them to really cause Jai any problems. Even if you're tough, you're probably not a good enough boxer to have any real success over Jai. If you're a good enough boxer to maybe have some success against Jai, you're probably not tough enough to take his shots for 12 rounds. Right? So there's that limiting factor at Cruiserweight, unfortunately, unless you're literally one of the better guys at Cruiserweight. Look through the history of Cruiserweight, Usyk, Opetaia, David Haye, Evander Holyfield, and the names that come to mind immediately. You need to have multiple facets to your game, which Jai has, Usyk had. I mean, Usyk's not on the Opetaia's not on the level of Usyk. He's not. That's the reality of it. He's not, because Usyk is a far better boxer, far more complete. Even though equally the Cruiserweight division at the time when they're both there isn't particularly strong, I guess because Usyk's gone on to now go up to heavyweight and accomplish everything there is in the sport of boxing and become one of the biggest names in modern boxing. I'm saying, yeah, Usyk's better than Opetaia, but Opetaia, I guess he's not young per se, but he's not old. He's certainly not a vet. He certainly could still move up to heavyweight and have some success, I believe. So I don't think he'd be as successful as Usyk. Like I said, I think Usyk's on a different level. But Opetaia dominated Brandon Glanton. I'm getting a bit off topic, but Opetaia dominated Brandon Glanton from all 12 rounds, in my opinion. I don't think he won all 12 rounds. Glanton probably done enough to win a couple rounds there, if we're being generous. But honestly, I think, Opetaia is a far better boxer than Brandon Glanton. And it showed over 12 rounds there. Opetaia, still the man at Cruiserweight. Wins the Zuffa World Cruiserweight Championship, which is the first, I guess, as a first. It's not really happened before. But, never happened before. He's the first Zuffa Cruiserweight champion. So, fair play to Jai Opetaia, man. Great performance. I know there was a bit of talk about the IBF and the sanctioning body situation there. I'll probably make a separate video about that because it is a bit tricky then. Going into this fight, nobody was really sure what was going on. There's been a few reports about one thing, a few reports about another. So I'll make a separate video about that. But as expected, Jai Opetaia has a dominant win over Brandon Glanton, and we're still looking at what's next for Jai, man. What is next for Jai Opetaia at Cruiserweight? Is it the winner of Zurdo v Benavidez? If it's Benavidez has said that he kind of wants to go back down to light heavyweight, sorry. Even though he's moving up to fight Zurdo and win that world championship, he's not really shown, at times he has, at times he's never turned down the Jai fight. It's not like people are saying, would you fight Jai? And he's like, nah. When people are asking him, what do you want your next two fights to be? He'll be like, Beterbiev and Bivol. So everyone's like, okay, so I guess you want to go down to light heavyweight then, sorry. You don't want to be at Cruiserweight long term. If your next fight, you're expecting it to be Beterbiev or Bivol, The Bivol fight doesn't make a ton of sense to me for him unless Turkey is just paying him a ton of money for it, because Beterbiev doesn't have a world championship. And, Benavidez would be a reigning world champion at Cruiserweight and would be vacating it to go down to light heavyweight and fight a non-title fight. Doesn't make a ton of sense to me. Right, the Bivol fight, of course, makes tons of sense, but we're not seeing a ton of excitement from the Bivol side for that Benavidez fight. So we'll see, we will see. But let me know what you guys think of that fight for Jai. What do you think of his performance? What do you think of Glanton's performance? Was it as expected, or was you even thinking Jai could stop this dude going into this fight? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Another episode of the Seth Solo Side Quest in the bag, and I'm out. Peace.